Thank you. Can I first apologise for having a very extended lunch break, but we were working. Indeed, you have seen us working. But we needed to go through the whole of the recommendation to make sure that the moderators agreed it, because they're effectively the working group for this meeting who have developed it. What we're going to do now, I suggest, is to go through the draft recommendation for you to comment on and work through. What we'll do first is to scroll through it quite quickly so you can have a quick read and see what fits where. And then we'll go back and we'll go through it paragraph by paragraph until we're finished.
How many paragraphs are there?
It's 4 pages, 31 recommendations and 2... Reasonable. It's all in your hands, you know, as to how long it takes. The basic... It's they're both on there. It's version 2. To continue, it's organised in the normal sort of way. There's a preambular bit which says who we are, who we're grateful to, where the meeting happened and when, all that sort of thing. Then there are a series of points where we're suggesting that we agree to certain propositions which have come up during the meeting. There's another set of 4 points where we're noting issues which are of slight concern. And then we have 31 recommendations which are divided into general ones and then ones relating to specific issues which UNESCO asked us to cover, like case studies, cross-thematic working, and so on. Right. Okay, so can everybody read that? Yes. And at the back, can you read it? Yes. Good. So if we scroll down gently, Ole. I've never got orthodox into one sentence so many times. Everybody had a chance to look at that quickly? Okay. Yeah. That wording is what Monsignor Follow said we had to put at the Yerevan meeting. If you want it just as the Holy See, that's fine. We'll alter it in a minute.
I have a problem with the users. The word users, other groups of faithful.
Where is this? We'll come back to go through it in detail in a moment. But if we just go through so you have an idea of what's there. Okay? Everybody read that? Last 2 points of sort of propositions, and then 4 things to note. Okay, everybody read that? And then we start on the recommendations. And these should all be points which have been mentioned and or discussed during the last 2 days. And I'm very grateful to my fellow moderators for doing all the hard work, really, and suggesting things. Everybody's seen that? You'll go back to it in detail in a minute. Okay. And there are still elements of wording to be tidied up in there. There are places where it says WHS, for example, which is shorthand for World Heritage Properties, and we'll go through and tidy that sort of thing up afterwards. And any other grammatical points that we spot. Sorry? It should... The official plural, I think, is actually states parties. Yes, it's like that's technically that's grammatically correct. It's like the plural of major general is majors general. And if we've got it wrong, Mechtil will tell us. Okay. Right, and that is the end of it. Okay, so hopefully that's given you an idea of the general structure. Now if we go back to the beginning and we go through paragraph by paragraph. Right. Okay, the first lines are the title and the place. Everybody happy? No?
I think that we have to have as a letterhead UNESCO and Ministry or something, Ukraine. Because now it's not obvious where this is inscribed, within which organization.
Okay. Dasha, what would you like? I mean, it's actually... We talk about who set up the meeting a bit further down, and this is actually the decisions of us rather than of a body.
Maybe we should like something like recommendations of the international seminar.
We could alter it to conclusions and recommendations of the international seminar. Ole? Conclusions and recommendations of the international seminar, please. Thank you. Right. And then the first paragraph actually that's the subject of the whole of the following recommendation. That's us taking these decisions. So we're saying this. Everybody happy with that? Down to 1st of November 2018? Right. Next paragraph. That basically is the resume of what's gone before. It covers the World Heritage Convention, the operational guidelines, the 2010 Kiev statement, which started the whole thing off, the other meetings, and up to and including the one in Yerevan back in April, during a peaceful revolution. Everybody happy with that? The next phrase thanks the Ministry of Culture and the... Okay, yes, sorry. Yes.
Government.
I meant to and I forgot.
Ole?
Would you repeat what you meant to, please, Christopher?
Remove, please, the word government.
Yes.
After Ukraine.
After Ukraine. At national Kyiv-Pечерська with the Y...
K-Y-I-V.
Yes. No, Kyiv.
Yes.
Yes. Pечерsk Historical and Cultural Preserve. Thank you.
Okay. Right, next paragraph. Maria. What do we call the Holy See? Okay, so we take out the Vatican. Yeah, that's what I thought, but Monsignor Follow was very firm in Yerevan, it had to be this. Right, so we'll take out, so delete hyphen State of Vatican City. I know. But if a Monsignor tells me to do something. Yes. Right. Anything else on that paragraph? Okay. Agree that.
Kyiv, the same.
Okay,
Kyiv with Ukrainian spelling.
Thank you.
Can we do something about the word use?
Yes, we now get on to the first. We agree that.
Church,
Church.
Ethiopian church with CH.
Okay. By. No, be they. It's meant to say you could. Okay. You could say instead of be they, you could say whether. Okay. Ole, if you delete be they and put whether, please.
The Ethiopian Orthodox Church.
Should we then add the
Ethiopian
word R
Orthodox
as well?
Church.
Okay.
We should add.
Yes. Is it the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, the correct wording?
Yes, yes. Ethiopian Orthodox Church.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Right. Timo, you had a comment on this first. Or other groups of users. What would you like to say in? Because there are lots of groups of users of sites. It could include tourists. Or we could just stop it after monastic organizations, which I think would cover.
If we write
Or other social groups.
we indicate that they are not businesses.
Okay.
Exploiting.
Right.
May I propose that we use the term stakeholders?
What I was thinking of when I wrote this was things like groups of parishioners. I mean, they're not a group of parishioners or friends of the church. They're not an institution and they're not monastic. Other social groups of users. Yes. Okay, so shall we take it out?
Yes, and
Delete it out?
Or monastic organizations.
So, if I understood correctly, you want the end of the sentence deleted?
Yes. Okay. Next paragraph. Since some religious communities have been managing some sites for over 1,000 years, resilience, I think, is reasonable. Everybody happy with that one? The third one, local religious communities are often not adequately involved. Any comments? I'll also sort the punctuation, so we have semicolons where we need them, and not full stops. Everybody happy with that one? Timo?
We put a comma.
Yes.
And I would say including the decision to designate sites at the end of this number 3. I repeat it. For plans of World Heritage properties of religious interest, the management system, including the designation of World Heritage sites.
Okay, Ole, so at the end, delete the full stop, comma,
So after interest,
including decisions to nominate,
Include-
decisions to nominate World Heritage sites.
including, sorry, the
Decisions
decisions.
to nominate World Heritage sites.
May I have a comment, Christopher, please?
You may have a comment.
I was just thinking about the first paragraph. Are we excluding groups of users as it is now?
Okay, go back to the first paragraph. Agree that. And we could go back to what Mr. Papayannis suggested, which was and other groups and other social groups. Okay? Right. Coming back to the third one, we have just added to the end of it, including decisions to nominate World Heritage sites. Does anybody have a comment on that? Do I see a comment back there? No, I don't.
First, let me add a point.
Yes?
That I mentioned that in Greece, Mount Athos and Metera have a constant complaint that they were never informed of the decision to nominate them as World Heritage sites.
Yes, and I fully accept that, although they were nominated some time ago. When we discussed this in the small drafting group, it was pointed out that the operational guidelines now say that local communities have to be consulted. But the consensus view in the end was this may be in the operational guidelines, but it doesn't always happen. So we think it's worth, I would agree with you that we should include that phrase.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, there's a recommendation. Okay. Any comment? Right. Can we go on to the next one? Increasing intensity of use of living religious.
Global and sustainable
Oh yes,
trends.
I've forgotten that one. Are creating. Is everybody happy with that one? Were we going to add visitors in there? Tourism. Something we discussed and I forgot to put in. It's in the next one. Yes, we split it into two. Right. So everybody's happy with the one about climate change. Okay, next one. Increasing intensity of use of living religious sites, including cultural and religious tourism, is a trend which creates challenges for conservation, both tangible and intangible. Timo?
I have a small objection because the increasing intensity of use does not concern only living religious sites, but all sites. If you've been lately to Delphi in the summer, you will see millions of people and hundreds of buses. So
Right.
this is a general problem, not only of living religious sites.
Yes, but now we are talking about living religious sites. We cannot say.
I think,
Venice is also a problem.
yes.
Tremendous tourism.
Right.
In in addition to conservation, if we add preservation, because conservation is for tangible heritage, for intangible it is preservation.
Okay,
Conservation and preservation.
right. Ole, can we add and preservation after conservation?
Could you please repeat that, Chris? I do have a bit of translation, which is excellent, but it's very much in my ear. Sorry.
Right, which creates challenges for conservation and preservation of tangible and intangible heritage. And that way we cover both the 72 and the 2003 conventions with the right terminology. Right.
And Christopher, the comment about living. Did you agree on that?
I think we must leave.
Yes, really.
The general consensus was that we should keep... Yeah.
Yes, Ole, it's the topic of the seminar, so we keep the word living.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, the general problem for all World Heritage Sites is fairly well recognized. Right, next one, growing secularization in some countries.
Do we need to include, like, including this use of religious sites, including, instead of including, due to cultural and religious tourism?
I think,
Yes, because there is also a problem if there is an increasing intensity of use.
other than tourism. So we're quoting tourism as the biggest example, but it's not the only example.
Okay.
Okay? Right. The one beginning growing secularization. Everybody happy? Right, okay, let's finish that section. Noting that these are things which are either of concern or we just need to note. So the first one is acknowledging the need to involve local religious communities. The second one, because we've had two examples in this seminar, is pointing out that on their own there can be problems and you need the conservation authorities involved as well. The third point is flagging up the fact that we've been excessively cultural. And if we don't put that in, Josep will be beaten up by IUCN when he goes back.
Christopher, question.
Yes?
I was thinking, do we limit in the second para, management by religious communities alone does not always guarantee the conservation of the integrity? Is that limiting the conservation efforts? Should we refer to outstanding universal value?
I think it's okay to talk about integrity because
Okay.
that sort of assumes everything as well, because it's the wholeness, completeness, and the rest of it. Okay, are we happy with the...
Just
Yeah, I'm sorry.
in the first paragraph, are we going to leave religious in parentheses or how? Acknowledgement of and securing the role and involvement of local parentheses religious communities.
We could say the involvement of local, comma...
I don't know.
Yeah. We don't... Can you take out the parentheses, please, Ole, in that first one? Then we'll see what it looks... Involvement of local religious communities. Or you could say local including religious. Local including religious? Okay. Thank you, Ole. Right. We've done the second paragraph, I think. The third one. And the fourth one is an example of a network of site managers which has been established recently, with a lot of clout behind it. Right, now we get on to recommendations. Yes? Sorry, where?
These needs.
No, this needs. That's fine.
No, it's okay. This.
We could say this. What we could say, actually, it did occur to me when we were drafting, we could say this lack needs to be remedied.
That's clear.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Right, recommendation 1. Any comments? I see none, to quote a rapporteur I knew once. Several, actually. Recommendation 2. Any comments? Recommendation 3. Any comments? Recommendation 4. Everybody happy? Recommendation 5. Recommendation 6. Yes? Which one?
About world heritage properties, shouldn't we make it all world heritage sites or world heritage properties?
It should be World Heritage Properties, but we'll pick it up on a final check.
Can we go back to
4?
The full inclusion of all relevant religious custodians and representatives of local communities in decision making about World Heritage properties should be ensured.
Yes.
Maybe it's too large. I mean,
We're not saying they should make the decisions. We're saying they should be included in the process of making the decisions.
yes, but that's not ensured. So should be encouraged, or should be maybe may you use another word? I mean.
Okay, they suggested we should use another less definite word than ensured. Should be encouraged. Timo?
Yeah, I think that we should eliminate the old of relevant religion. Because all you might be searching around and finding all sorts of incredible groups.
people who want to be
I can see the point of that because I think of Stonehenge, which has New Age pagan values, where the various groups would say they were relevant and the managers would say they weren't. Okay, so we're suggesting...
Excuse me.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yes, so it's okay. In number 4, may I suggest the full involvement of all relevant religious custodians instead of inclusion?
Right. The full involvement, yes?
I think so.
And we still have a suggestion for deleting all. I think the full involvement of relevant religious custodians is okay. So can we delete all as well, please? Right. Okay, number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8. Number 9. Slow down. Which one are we on? 7? Should be encouraged. Joseph?
No, it's something else. Actually, it's it can stay. Sure, I think it's correct.
Okay. Okay, I mean, because government theory says that decisions should be transparent, accountable, and with public participation. Government frequently fails to achieve that, but that's a different matter. Okay. Sorry, so
Since we already used actually in other point encouraged, and here also we can't say ensured, can we say classified?
can we say, sorry, what?
Classified?
Classified.
Because there is a or clarified. No? To clarify things, you mean like, you know.
We could say
clarify or clarified.
clarified
Yeah.
suggests that what we're doing is making the mechanisms clearer to
Yes,
people.
making clear.
Joseph has just suggested that we should say should be implemented.
Or, yeah, but not insured, because insured
Okay.
is, yeah.
Yes. Right, so delete insured and insert implemented, please, Ole. Right. 8.
Remark.
Yes?
How about changing the word proper, development of proper relationship, by balanced or equitable relationship?
So long as you're not suggesting improper relationships.
Exactly. If there is proper, brings to mind what is
Yeah.
improper.
Equitable?
Put up-
Yeah, sorry, we have a comment there.
Formal relationship between natural and cultural heritage.
I would prefer equitable or balanced, I think, because formal can mean that nothing actually happens.
Yeah.
You have the formal relationship, but nobody actually does anything. It's like it's like the Hochrid case, where there is lots of formal contact, but no dialogue. We were told.
Okay. In that case, we can get balanced.
Balanced.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, balanced is probably a better word than equitable. Okay. Everybody happy with number 8? No?
Can we add a word to balance that means substantial? So that what we want is not just a relationship, but the relationship that is substantial.
One word we could
Real.
use would be substantive.
Substantive, that's much better.
Balanced and substantive relationships. That means a relationship where the partners are fairly equally balanced, and substantive means it has real meaning. Right. Substantive and balanced relationships. Okay, thank you. Now you've pushed recommendation 9 onto the next page. Right, number 9. This is governance again. Is everybody happy? I mean, this is basically something, it's to identify what the best practices would be to ensure that you get free, prior and informed consent. I have to say that would come as a shock to the Church of England, but it's time they did. Okay, number 9, everybody happy? Number 10, which again comes back to the Ohrid and Misteka cases should be... Yeah, I take the point, but on the other hand, I think this is one where it should be insured because it's the state party which has the legal responsibility for the convention. And if they can't enforce it, they're stuffed. Sorry, they are in difficulties.
Because not only they propose the site for designation, but it is their own decision.
Yes. Yeah, so it needs to be insured. Yeah. Right, 11 is about training or general enhancement. I think 12 we should probably change from insured to encouraged.
Sorry, may I say something about 11?
Yes?
About 10, yes.
10.
We don't mention in 10 the need to have religious people involved in this training. It's not only for the management authorities. But the religious communities must be.
We've got with appropriate, with the consent and voluntary participation of appropriate religious custodians. We could say religious communities there. Would you want to substitute communities for custodians? Okay.
I think custodians has a broader meaning.
Right.
Because not always are communities, sometimes there are institutions or other type of religious organizations, and I think that custodians encompasses all of them, but it's just a minor point, and a nuance. I don't know, what do you think, Christopher?
We could say, what? Right. Whereas custodians implies somebody in a direct line of management and taking care. Okay. Can we live? We could say both. Right. Okay. Right. Do we need to say appropriate communities and custodians? I think possibly we could take appropriate out.
Why appropriate?
Ole, can we delete appropriate from number 10, please? We're taking it out. Okay. Right, number 11. The cultural identity of religious communities. Yes, we don't need hand custodians there, I don't think. Number 11, is everybody happy? 12. (13) says everybody should agree the management plan, which is...
Christopher?
Yes?
In number 12, are we referring to general managers or site managers?
Site managers, I think. It's another governance phrase.
Yeah, rights holders is a subset, in fact, of stakeholders that have rights, legal rights, on the side. Well, it can be a diversity of situations, but...
if you had somebody who had hunting rights over a piece of land, for example, or rights of access to graze stock, they would be rights holders.
Or they can have rights to use a certain day this property. for instance, or a certain hour or whatever.
Right.
Right owners is correct because there are, in our case, for example, the municipality is considered as right owners.
Yes.
And other stakeholders as well.
Yeah.
The women representatives, youth representatives. We have a board, like a board who is managing. So these are considered as the right owners.
Okay. So you're happy with that? Right. Okay. Right. So. Yes. Okay. And the case, so for example, when we were doing the Hadrian's Wall management plan, we had 700 rights holders who were the farmers who owned the land it stands on. That was a game and a half. Number 14. Everybody happy? Number 15 is basically making the point that research is an essential part of management. Number 16. Number 17. Sorry.
I don't know if it is grammatically correct or not. You should tell us. We have twice including in the same paragraph in number 16.
It's not grammatically incorrect. It's messy. We could say such as issues of coexistence.
All right.
Yes?
Is it politically correct to speak about management of people?
I'm managed all the time by all sorts of people, and I'm a person.
I consider it highly probable. Very good results, in fact. But I don't know whether it sounds politically fine.
I think you can manage pilgrims and visitors, because I mean, just down to the level of admission numbers, circulation routes, and so on. Yes. Right. Okay. Right. 17. Yes. Shadia.
I notice here you, for example, monasteries, churches in urban areas, natural sacred areas, but no mosques. Why? Because mosques in Arab and
Mosques?
Even, yeah,
Yes.
and Asian.
Right.
I think
Yes.
this will be exclusion if we didn't include mosques.
Okay.
Because
So we could say churches, mosques, synagogues, temples, shrines. That would be better. That's neater.
just
Places of worship in urban areas? Thank you. Yeah, but Ole, we
Yes,
need
sir.
to keep monasteries because they're a different category of community, and monasteries aren't just Christian. Sorry? Yes, and yes. So monastery, right. Okay. Yes?
in that case we need to add and in between monasteries and other places of worship.
Particular types. If we add and, if we add it...
Monasteries and other places of worship.
No, because they're two separate groups. So we could say monasteries, places of worship in urban areas, and sacred places, sacred,
Okay.
and natural sacred areas.
We have, for example, we have egg at the beginning, which means, for example, monasteries, comma, places of worship in urban sacred areas, comma, and natural sacred
Yes.
places, for example, monasteries.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. 18.
I have suggestions for 18. At the end, effective collaboration between all interested parties, maybe.
Yes, can do. Okay, between all interested parties at the end. Thank you. Right, that's the bottom of page 3. We're getting there. We're on a roll, possibly. Right, case studies. I talked about case studies on yesterday morning. It seems longer ago than that. And what we're suggesting we should include is a recommendation that this should be extended to other parts of the world than just the Mediterranean and Southeast Europe, because the information they contain is useful, and the invitation is addressed to states parties in recommendation 20, because the questionnaire as designed is designed for states parties to answer it for all the sites in their territory. Happy? Okay. Cross-thematic approaches, number 21.
No, it is not exactly a comment. It's just a thought we had, both
A
of
thought?
us. A thought. I don't know whether it should be written or not. Is that during the last 15 years, we have been coordinating, Themio Papagiannis and myself, the Delos initiative, which operates under the umbrella of the World Commission of Protected Areas.
Okay.
And we have been preparing a good number of, we have about 50 or more case studies, which about perhaps half of them are World Heritage Sites and the rest are not. And these are, all of them are sacred natural sites. So these are living religious sites. And that was just a thought whether these case studies could fit, could be used.
So
or mentioned somewhat, I don't know.
You're suggesting...
This had been already published.
Okay. Can we scroll back up just a bit? Add another point. We'll have to draft this on at the bottom of that section on case studies. Can we add something like collect existing case studies of religious and sacred properties which are relevant to this initiative, brackets, e.g. from the Delos initiative? Okay.
Would you repeat, please, brackets?
Collect existing case studied religious and sacred properties of relevance to PRI-SM, which is hyphen.
Where's the hyphen? There.
And then the bracket. No, this bit shouldn't, of relevance to PRI-SM shouldn't be in brackets. You need to open a bracket after PRI. Bracket, e.g. from the Delos initiative of IUCN.
Dios.
Delos. Delos, as in island.
E-L-O. Delos.
Delos, D-E.
D-E-L-O-S.
Yes. You clearly haven't spent your time having holidays on Greek islands. Okay? Right. Thank you. Right, what is now number 22? The cross-thematic approach. Everybody happy?
Yes.
Okay. 23. This next group is about capacity development and training. Experience should be shared among similar sites belonging to different faiths. So, for example, a network across monastic sites across the world could come up with some very interesting ideas. 24 is about...
23 gives a feeling that we are limiting the sharing of experience only to different faiths. It could be the same faith or different.
Right. Experience should be shared among similar sites, including those of different faiths. Okay. Number 24, which is basically saying the religious community should be trained about conservation and experts should be trained about religion.
I would perhaps replace would receive by would benefit from appropriate training or something giving more positive value to this matter.
Right, okay. And it should be would benefit from appropriate training. Okay, Ole, go back to the beginning of that one. Yes? Right.
Not
Can
only
we take-
religious and other community members.
And other social.
Religious and other community members, okay. Responsible for heritage conservation, it should be.
For, yeah.
Would benefit, not should. From appropriate training, comma. While, and then while, not and. Heritage experts should be sensitized to religious matters. That's not brilliant phrasing. But somebody suggest me a better word. We could say, while the awareness of heritage experts about religious matters should be raised. Of religious matters should be raised. Among heritage experts. And then delete it after experts. Thank you.
We could add improving the sensitivity of the word.
I think leave it at that.
Understood.
Yes, I think so. Yes?
If we replace the word matters, religious matters, by religious rules or something like that, because we need, in this case, we need to sensitize the expert to respect the religious, all religions have their own rules. For example, in our case, you need to take out your shoes when you go inside the church. There are some kind of rules for every religion. So instead of matter, if we find another word, like a rule or
the awareness,
dogma.
We could say the awareness of religious sensitivities. Try, Ole, try sensitivity you have. While the awareness of religious sensitivities should be raised among heritage experts.
I think we should raise more than the sensitivities. Sensitivities would be for the visitors to accept,
Right.
to respect the site. But for the heritage experts, we need a more in-depth knowledge. Maybe matters. I think it's better because it covers more than the sensitivity of each.
Could we
religion.
say religious customs and practices?
Maybe, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe just religious tradition instead of customs and practice. It's the same sensitivities, but it's a tradition, just one word. Because every religion has its own tradition. We have to respect this and be aware of this actual tradition. This is my suggestion.
This recommendation is for heritage experts because we have architects, for example, who don't know what a church does. My only worry about traditions is that traditions are things in the past, whereas customs and practice is what happens now. They may be traditions as well, but customs and practice covers the current use. Yes. Okay, customs and practice then. Number 25.
Maybe should we add also associated sacred values?
While awareness of religious customs and practices
As well as associated sacred
and
values.
associated sacred values.
Associated, yes.
That wouldn't hurt, actually.
Should we say associative?
Associative, sacred values. Yes, you could do.
Associated. Associated, yes.
You've got an extra hand in there at the moment. As well as... And is fine there, yes. Associative is fine as well, actually. If we said associated, we need to have a noun there too. Right. Everybody happy with that? 25?
One remark.
One remark.
On 25.
Yes?
Could we tie this to the tale of UNESCO? Because the World Heritage Center could do some work on that and provide this to the initiative.
We haven't in this set of recommendations, apart from one we'll come to, targeted the groups who have to do the work. We have done that with some sets of recommendations and nothing has happened. And it wouldn't necessarily be UNESCO you targeted, it might be ICROM. But I think I would leave that hanging for the moment. Yes.
I think that Mrs. Shader had another
Right.
comment.
Thank you.
To decrease actually the word, in the sentence, and as well as associated sacred values. That's it. Why associative? And yeah, it's just associated sacred values.
You might have associated values which weren't sacred. Yes. 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 Okay. Right. Can I move on to the general guidance document? We're doing all right at the moment, time-wise, but we've still got several to go. Right. In the Yerevan recommendation, which was earlier this year, we included a lot of detailed recommendations for the content of the guidance document. We haven't suggested this here because we haven't actually discussed the guidance document very much. But what we're suggesting with this recommendation is, with this set of recommendations, is firstly, in 26, that it should be comprehensive, and in the last one, 28, that the people who are going to revise the general guidance document should go through the whole of this decision, looking for points which need to go into the general guidance document. I think there are some, certainly. And then the middle one asks the steering group of the initiative to get on and do it. Which is something that needs to be addressed. So are we happy with 26, 27 and 28? Okay. 29 is next steps and follow-up activities. We support the proposal by the Georgian authorities to have a meeting next year, looking at the specific issue of living religious heritage in urban context. Everybody happy? Is Manana happy? Sorry? Living religious heritage in urban context. Yes. Sorry.
So I have already mentioned in my presentation about the conference, and we would like to invite all of you to participate and contribute to solve our issue.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. So 29, everybody's happy with. 30 is trying to widen the initiative out so it's not principally European, but we will need states parties to extend invitations and provide the funding for meetings. So we put the recommendation in. Should be encouraged vigorously. Should be vigorously encouraged. Vigorously encouraged, Ole? What does that look like? Right. Okay, Ole, if you go down to the penultimate line of that particular recommendation, and we take from to interest, to ensure, and we put that at the beginning to make to ensure a truly global approach. Yep, that's it. And put that at the beginning. So that to ensure a truly global approach to the initiative on World Heritage Properties and Religious Interest, comma, states parties in regions and sub-regions who have not yet had an expert meeting should be vigorously encouraged to host such meetings. We'll see if anything happens. But it gives Anna something she can use. Finally, 31, it's not quite final. Encourage states parties to invite representatives of religious communities to future meetings. Everybody happy?
So, excuse me, while you go through the other paragraph, can I kindly ask you to back to the 24th sentence?
Can we go back? 24?
Yeah.
Right.
No, it isn't. It's now 25.
Okay.
So can we, it was good inspiration referring to the UNESCO. Can we add some sentence? Provide the training to promote integrated management for training for toward heritage properties of religious interest based on the ICOMOS and ICROM guidelines or something else, using the resources of advisory, UCN and advisory bodies.
We could say using the resources of the advisory bodies.
Yeah.
Yes. Use it. Okay, Oleg, can we add at the end, using the resources of the advisory bodies? That'll please them.
Can we go back to the point 21st?
Can you go back to 20?